Well, I went on my email the other day, which is something I don't do too often. Uh, but I noticed that there was some replies to a thread I had started many years ago talking about some of these collectible lanterns. Uh, that there's still interest in them. So I thought, rather than the trouble of doing pictures and a write up, I just shoot a little bit of video. Um, let's start with the what I believe to be the earliest, and this was shown in another video. This is the 1917 patent Grether Fire Equipment Company lantern, and I'm not sure the model number on this, but you'll notice that it's using that funky cutler hammer pull switch. Interestingly enough, it's got a aluminum tag on top rather than brass. And it seems I've only seen a couple of the aluminum tagged ones. They dropped the tags pretty early on, and they began, with the. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Aluminum tags seem to be a little bit more rare than the brass tagged models. And then this is a very early number 6 model, also made for the US Navy, and it is a brass tag model. And you'll notice on top of these two raised circular portions on the lid casting, and they're riveted on. These two are both pre-patent, and electronically or electrically and mechanically, save for the focusing knob, they're essentially the same lantern with a different case and a different size reflector and handle. I actually kind of prefer the ergonomics of the number 6 myself. Nice handle. But there were some slight variations as they made these through the years. Now this would have been a model sold on the open market. You see, they've changed the switch now again, and we're using a toggle switch, and this was still manufactured actually by Cutler Hammer. If you search like crazy, you may actually be able to find one of those. Unusual for a toggle switch as we know them today, because it's mounted with these two screws and a plate rather than just being screwed through the hole. And here's a later model, number 6, and you'll notice a couple of changes, and I refer to this as the second model for lack of a better name. But rather than go to the extra expense of making those brass tags and all that, they've simply decided to cast the information right into the top of the lid, which is a nice way to go. It says very clearly, portable electric lantern, model number 6, patent July 30th, 1918, the Grether Electric Fire Equipment Company, Dayton, Ohio, USA. We've got this rib that's been added into the handle here, as opposed to the earlier model where these were just flat. Now you'll find these early models, the brass tag models, without Navy markings on them. It's actually extremely rare. I've only ever seen, been collecting these over 10 years now. I've only ever seen 3 of these, I think, come up for sale. With that U.S. Navy marking. This U.S. Navy model was more rare still. This is the only one I've ever seen come up for sale, and I managed to get my hands on it. Rather proud of that. But moving on. So we had some minor changes here, and then later on they decided to change the switch again, and they put it on this little curved plate. And why they did that, I'm not exactly sure, but that's the way they did it. And we're now using a more conventional type of toggle switch. Another difference, we have a smooth lid that would have originally had a decal on it, so they've gone to an even more inexpensive method of marking them. This, unfortunately, was messed with a lot before I got it, but it's missing the mounting bracket. This would have had a mounting bracket on the back, because this particular one was more popular, it seems, amongst the fire departments, and they would mount these on the sides of some of their trucks. And in fact, you will find these marked on the top, seagrave, cast into the top. Still a Grether lantern, still made under their patents, just made for seagrave. You will also find the number 6 model marked in a couple of different ways. You'll find these marked Fairmont Railway Motorcar Company, and also portable electric lantern model number 6. And you'll find them marked Harris Brothers Manufacturing Company. Now, from logic deduction, the best I could figure is I believe Harris Brothers was the foundry that actually was casting these little beauties for the Grether Fire Equipment Company. But William Grether actually owned the patents, and you know, during the turn in the early part of the 20th century, it was not at all uncommon for different companies to manufacture their products under a variety of names. So there may be yet still more of these out there with names that I'm not aware of. This is the latest model, I believe, of the number 6, probably amongst the last made. And you'll see another minor change. We've got actually a thicker handle still. It's just this flat beveled, which I think looks rather snazzy, and you know, it's a bit streamlined. So I would say these were probably made more into the 30s than the 20s. You'll notice something interesting. Now, these number 6s, they have a mounting setup on the back of them, so that you could slide it up onto a flat blade type bracket that would be mounted on a wall or on a truck. Now, you're going to see a difference in these. When these were made to be mounted to a moving vehicle, they had on the underside here, there's a little leaf spring in there that pushes, so that when you hang this on that bracket, it sort of locks in there. And this hole here was drilled by somebody. I always sort of wanted to get it welded, but I decided to let it be. Possibly somebody decided to hang this one on a wall at some point and didn't have a bracket, or what I think this actually might have possibly been is for a clip for a piece of safety chain. Because I have seen photos of these mounted to fire equipment, and actually sort of near the fender on the exterior. You wouldn't want it to fly off when you're going down the road. Grether Fire Equipment Company, they made other stuff as well. They made nozzles and the like. I believe they made some sort of breathing apparatus as well. But I don't think that they actually manufactured their own stuff. So William Grether did own the patents, and you can do a Google patent search and find quite a few of his patents. He had more lantern patents than these. Some of them, I'm not sure if they ever actually made it into production, and some of them probably made it into very limited production. I have seen a couple of other models of his patents up for sale. I unfortunately was not able to acquire them at the time for my collection. Financial difficulties, such on and so forth. But they'll come along eventually. Anyways, I hope this informed you a little bit. Enjoy. If you like these, let me know. If you've got any more information I don't know about, I'd certainly like to know. There are lots of transitional little variations that I've seen. It seems like this company was almost in a constant period of tweaking with these lanterns, changing little minor things with them. You know, for example, you'll see we have a round focusing knob and a round focusing knob here, but you'll see these also with a hex focusing knob, and there's one there. Just little minor things like that. You know, the earlier ones had 832 screws on the bezel, and the later ones were bumped up to 1032. Lots of other little minor variations. You know, you'll find these models, and they'll have a switch on them, like these models. Well, enjoy. I hope you've learned something. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, there was some question as to original color. I've seen these in silver, so silver would be correct. I've seen these in flat crackle black, like you saw. And they used to use that on a lot of old things back in the days. Crackle black. And red was also quite common. But they would have been painted any color that the customer wanted. You'll also find them with a variety of markings for various city municipalities, utility companies, and even railroads. They were popular in some applications on the railroads as well. Enjoy, and have a wonderful day.